Hello, everyone. We are coming live. This is actually a test as well, just to make sure that our broadcast is working correctly. Sounds like Marty is able to hear us just fine. She has a very secure connection. We're going to be on here for at least an hour, talking or whatever, and making sure that her connection stays the way it needs to stay. Not sure if we're going to get anyone to join us, but happy Mother's Day. This is the night before Mother's Day. I'm sure a lot of people are expecting a lot of nice gifts. And
I'm not.
anyway, anyway, I'm Tavy. And
I'm
that's
Marty.
more. Why don't we see our names? Hold on. Why am I not seeing our names? I don't see your name on yours. On yours, do you see my name?
I see my name. I don't see your name.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Somebody sees our name, I guess. Let me see if I turn this. Oh, I do see my name. I'm sorry. Okay, so as it relates to mothers, and I know you have a lot to talk about as mothers, Marty, you can get it started because again, we don't have a script, but I just wanted to get on here
That
and
makes
talk.
it that makes it that much more meaningful because we don't have a script.
Well,
Um, huh?
so you like unscripted things?
It works best for me. That's why I'm in jail now.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Facebook, that's why we did YouTube because Marty is kicked off of Facebook again for 30 days. Like I said, they usually kick her off 3 or 4 times a year. So this is one of the times. So
A year or a
no.
month. Oh, it's only 30 days in a month. Okay, my bad.
I said 3 or 4 times. So you're off Facebook at least 120 to what 180 days a month. I mean a year. So a
True.
quarter of yeah, you're off a quarter of the year off of Facebook. That's why you need your own platform.
Well, as we focus on mothers, um, you know, society has a script, right, for
Mm-hmm.
mothers. And in this script, they paint mothers who are not as well financially secure in the most negative manner, of which that internalized disdain, from their children towards them. And now that I am a mother, grandmother, I look at my mom differently. Growing up in inner city or whatever, society says what she should do, who she should be, but it's so
Mm-hmm.
much lacking. Let's start with money. And when
Mm-hmm.
we start thinking about the inner city, middle class black women and the magic that we swing for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
we have to come together and see not only as mothers, but in our profession, because black women, I don't care what the profession is, we bring that maternal instinct. We bring the care, we bring the love, and we really want change. But then again, you have to make that hard decision. Do I keep the check coming in or do I say unfair?
Mm-hmm.
And we are just nurturing people, and it has got to stem from being mistreated so much in this country. So, as women, as we pay homage, I mean, even in the brokenness and hurt, we still must connect and interconnect as moms. And for myself, moms of athletes, um, hey, America created all these roadblocks to deny us and exclude us. When are we going to get back to the us part, the village?
Right. And you know what? That just made me think about a piece I wrote some time ago, and it
Mhm.
was called the closed blinds.
Okay.
And just thinking about all those big mamas that used to sit in the window sill, and watch and would know everything going on. So when the working single moms, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, we just have generations of single moms, and it stirred back from slavery, so it's not anything new.
Right.
um but overall you had those watchful eyes, that village system being
Mm-hmm.
able to not only look after the street, the whoever they can see from their blinds, but also be able to chastise us,
Exactly.
and and now big mamas are scared. The connection is broken. The respect isn't there when it comes to the youth as it relates to big mamas. More
Right.
now, big mamas are nosy mamas, which that's always been a case, but that's needed more now than ever. Is for us to have those big mamas that was the foundation of the community, that made sure when we went to take care of other people communities, other people babies, that it was the village system big mamas that are in place watching ours. and
Correct.
and that's not it. That's not there anymore.
Well, what we did is the like I shared earlier, it was the assimilation,
Mhm.
it was the infiltration,
Mhm.
and all those other Asians that white folks put in us. And it sounds good. Yes, we want our kids to not have the weight that our ancestors had, true enough. But policies are still in place that's etched in 1800. So
Mhm.
with that, um, we have basically created, to me, we have created some of the most illiterate, weak minded young people because we had to be strong to go out and face this America. But I think the fact that so much of the truth was um omitted, or the quote education, because my mother and that older generation, they did not sit down and have discussions with young people. This is what I
Right.
say, this is what you're going to do. And you look back on it now, what do I have to have a conversation with a child? What can you tell me? Nothing. Nothing. Do you have a view? It's nice to feel that way, but in the
Mhm.
real world, start questioning those in authority figures and see what they do. Well, they're doing it now, and you're complying.
Mhm.
You know, so those were survival mechanisms. And people say about disciplining and whooping and all of that. Hey, what I see on a daily basis in the classroom. So now pushing papers on them and setting up their entire future to go into the prison system is seemingly okay, because now they're free and they're acting out this freedom.
So, there's been a controversial story going on in the news this past week, and it was highlighting a principal who used corporal punishment
Mm-hmm.
in front of the child's mother, and the mother recorded her whooping the child. Now that has always been a controversial issue, because most people thought that there was just an end to corporal punishment, period, but that's not the case, because some in some areas they can still implement corporal punishment.
Right.
And when I view one of the clips, the articles, um it was even a discretion, a caution that said, oh, this is very disturbing, and I'm just thinking, like, that's very normal. I mean, that's why a lot of us stayed in our place, was being getting paddled, or fear of being paddled, and we didn't
Right.
act out as much in school. So I
True.
don't have a problem with corporal punishment if it's used correctly. But and since my kids been in school, they never had corporal punishment, because I was told it was done with completely. So to
Right.
see nowadays that it's still going on in other areas and it's not completely illegal, I'm like, oh wow, because some of that stuff, seriously, a butt whooping at school actually helps. So I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know really what the situation was with that principal. So I can't say what the situation was with her, but I do know that sometimes that's all it takes is, a little enforcement at school, and that corporal punishment did work, but some people abused it. So
That's true, and but no differently than in the home, you know. But in our home, even with disciplining harshly or whatever, you got to also look at the other uh, issues that go along with it. We're
Mm-hmm.
looking at environmental hazards. We're looking at, low wages and all of those things that play a important role in
So
being
would it
root.
be? So would it? Are you saying? Are you describing disparities? Because that's what I see. I'm like,
Right.
if you decrease the disparities in the community, which is around poverty,
Correct.
then you would pretty much make these things disappear. That's why you have
Exactly.
certain things happening in one zip code that's not
Uh-huh.
happening in affluent zip codes because there's not
They
all
have
of
the
that
resources.
exactly. It's not
Mhm.
all that disparity there that drives crime and all the other stuff.
Correct. And with that, it also spills over into education. But, and I say all the time, poverty does not equate to that really, because even though we were impoverished, the village, the support system was there. We had it. But it was when we left the hood, left one another. We don't even have that mentality anymore to help.
So
Family help.
you talking
Go
about when
ahead.
we integrated or when we assimilated? Which one?
Both. I mean, because they're one and the same. You assimilate when you detaching from the village concept and what we used to do that held us together. And then when we moved amongst them, you had to detach from everything. So those resources left. And but yet and still you live there, but you work in our school system with white eyes. Okay? So yeah. Black mother has to contend with all of those things.
Yeah, that's sad. So basically, when we integrated, we
Mhm.
basically um kind of dismiss the values and well the cultural values I want to
Right.
say
Hmm.
of the black community and the survival and the upliftment of it was because we had still had our learned men and everything included in the communities. But when our
Right.
learned men left the community, learned men and women, I should say, left the communities, then it just kind of like did some kind of brain drain. I kind of can see,
Hmm.
um and I guess you could say economic drain too as well, because if all the affluent, all the middle class people, rich people leaving the black community because now it's not segregated anymore, then they're going,
They make
oh
white folks richer quicker. Basically.
well, I mean, it's not a
E-
whole
e-
lot of
e-
white businesses
everything
in the
everything
hood.
they do in those communities funds go back to white people.
White businesses are not in our black communities mainly. It's more other minority
But
businesses in our
no,
communities.
no, you was talking about middle class and rich blacks after
Oh, when they leave,
desegregation.
when
Right.
they leave, and then they go because they're going to a white. They're not going to another minority community. More than
Exactly.
that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
just make them richer quicker.
Mhm. Oh
So
wow. I didn't even. Yeah. Now that I think about it, because no, I don't think I know any blacks that really desire to move into another minority community. They trying to get away from the black, so they're
their
gonna.
own.
It's gonna always be a white community that they're trying to adapt to, and I just want to see us fixed. And so I
Me
guess
too.
that goes back to the women, goes back to understanding the deposit that the big mamas made and all the other people that created that village system that we talk about that's obsolete now. Or is it obsolete? Do you see the village working anywhere when you walk around?
I try to bring it everywhere I go. The mentality, the expectations. As myself in the classroom, I am confronted with the question of, how was it when I was in school? Or my students ask about my teacher, and I always have to remind them that, growing up in our area, basically the same impoverished area. The only difference is the teacher's hue and level of expectations. They never made excuses because of poverty or what you was faced with the day before, whatever. I still has the demand, and you better be ready in the morning. and that was it.
So what's the
So
difference now? Because if you could teach poor kids back when we were kids and we're in our 40s, then what's the difference from teaching poor kids now then if that's the case?
because white teachers are in the classroom.
But okay, and to be fair, yes, we know a lot of them leave their lily white communities and come and do what they do, and they make a lot of money to stay in their white affluent neighborhoods. But honestly, I know there are some that come because they do want to actually help. All right.
Okay,
So,
it's not working. They're not helping. So yeah, they're part of the problem.
but
Until I say, what you call it, where you have to live amongst the people. What is it called?
I mean
Um,
the residency
yes,
rules to
residency requirements.
well, but what they say for East St. Louis, because they've tried to enforce that before,
Not
but
really.
but no, I'm trying to tell you is they can't enforce it because of the lack of resources in the community, and basically it was some kind of court ruling, and I have to dig it up, but basically said that if there's no resources in that community, then how could you force anyone to stay in that community?
Okay, so therefore, black mothers should rise up and say, "Why am I forced to send my kids to school where they're failed? We have a history of
But
failure
but
now."
but they're really not forced because
Yes, you
you and
are.
I
Yes, you are.
you
Because of
can
the
homeschool. You can homeschool.
Okay, so we already know that takes money, right? We didn't have to have homeschooling. We had teachers that cared and taught, period. So I shouldn't have to accept you because you have a job coming into my kid's school and fucking them up and not uh, pushing what they need to be self-sufficient citizens for tomorrow. You don't have that right, but black mothers have given them that right. I mean,
Well,
to my knowledge.
well, I when I first started going into schools, and I would talk to kids, and it's amazing how kids, especially middle age and up, how
Uh-huh.
they are really little young people. Because I'm always telling people, teenagers is nothing but a little over 100 years old, and people are like,
Right.
huh? What you talking
Mm-hmm.
about? I said teenagers are a little bit over 100 years old. Like they were legislated, they were created through legislation.
Right.
Because beforehand, they were just going from being kids to adults and raising house and doing the
Have a
house
kid.
thing and having
Uh-huh.
kids. That's just how it was. So we got these young people legislated. So when you do see teachers that are there for them and they're just for the check, I had some kids come to me and to have a conversation just like that. Like, and I'm looking at them like, oh, she here for a check, she here for a check, her heater. I'm like, how
Uh-huh.
you know all that? What make you think that? And why are you sharing it with me? Oh, we can tell the difference. We can tell when people really care. And I started to
Yeah,
think about that, and I brought the teenager thing up because they're really little grown people that should be running
that's
their
right.
own or could be running their own houses right now, but because of legislation, it says they have to remain kids. So
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at them, and it's a shame that, and they wasn't pointing out just white teachers; they were pointing out black teachers too. And
They
so,
some of the worst.
right. And so, with me seeing that and hearing that from a kid without asking, it was just kind of a volunteer thing of they felt like they could trust me because I just seemed so genuine and, that I actually seemed to care. And they said it wasn't really
Right.
used to people coming in caring, you know, and that's got to be horrible because I don't ever recall any time throughout from grade school to high school that I just really felt like the teachers in the building was there for a check and didn't care. And that's really scary.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it. If basically I see, like they say, rotating cast of substitutes, or I'm sitting in a class and there is no teacher at all, these kids are not slow. They have to get up with poverty on the backs of their shoulders. They see their moms, or dad for that matter, or grandmother, whomever their caregiver is, get up and work hard for nothing. To God constantly say, "I don't have," or "We can't." and then they're looking at the younger siblings to get up and be insulted to go into a school system and see a fucking sub. I can see why they're upset. You wasted my time. And then you tell me I gotta come to this place? What am I getting up coming for? I can just get a damn job for mine.
And so that's another thing that when you say about subs, so there's a lack of having base teachers. And I can recall one time at a school where there was a need for a Spanish teacher, and they had a actual Spanish teacher, but from what I can gather with the children was that they called her white black. They said, well, she's black, but she was really like white, and she really couldn't handle us. And I feel like, she's calling off from school because she can't handle us, And I'm like, what? So she's been out of class for over a month and a half, and you kids think that she can't. At the same time, you're supposed to be picking up a foreign language, and you're not picking up this foreign language. So
Right.
I tried to go on YouTube and start teaching, like YouTube teach. And they were like, no, it's too late. like it's too late. Like I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
wow. And so that was some kids that were missing out, and they had a regular teacher. So what is the problem with hiring teachers in the inner cities? Is it just that hard that now the white teachers do have to come in? Because again, when we grew up in East St. Louis, there was abundance of black teachers that it was hardly any white teachers. I remember um and I'll call her name because I'm sure she had a good rapport with people. But Miss Geiger, I went to Hawthorne Elementary School, and in the 6th grade, I got a chance to be in Miss Geiger class, and she was a wonderful, wonderful white teacher, and she was in the
Uh-huh.
minority. And I don't know if you ever encountered her, but she was in the minority. I think she probably was the only white teacher in the school. I can't remember any other white teachers, but you could tell her earnesty, and she was really there for us, and
Right.
so and then I moved out of the East St. Louis schools and went to Cahokia schools, which were really predominantly white as well. And then I seen some differences that you're
Uh-huh.
talking about, especially as me being an honor student, and I'm in the class with all white kids that they started treating me less. I'm like, hold on, like I went from being like embraced to being like, okay, we're gonna see if you can make it kind of thing. And I'm looking at this book, and I'm like, I had this book last year in this honors class.
Right.
So it was like my education got compromised moving into a white neighborhood, for real. Leaving East St. Louis schools, moving. So now you look at different schools that they call inner cities, and that's East St. Louis included, and all the other St. Louis, all of those. And
Mm-hmm.
you just think about, okay, why can't they keep teachers in these classrooms? Why is it a need?
Well, first of all, you have to look at once again when we had the village concept. Everybody had the same vision. Everybody spoke the same over our babies, right? There was
Mm-hmm.
no you ain't gonna touch my child or whatever. Okay. Granted, like you said earlier, some went overboard or whatever. But the kid knew if I'm clowning around the corner, they have permission to address me, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And so
A lot of these young people that's African American today in our schools through the quote Teach for America program, they all they know is predominantly white school. So they come into our inner city schools with that mentality. They've had everything. They don't know anything about really making stuff work with nothing on top of that.
mm,
So uh black faces and white eyes is what it is. And they coming in with white expectations, white customs. Get the fuck out, is what I'm saying. Get out.
so
I mean,
they need to
and
have
like you
some culture. So are you saying that they're lacking the cultural relativity
big
to come
time.
into these schools to teach?
Yep.
So I've seen so many places that mandate that. You think that that should be just an overall mandate, or do you just think that they should really try to, for real, match black? Because they got the studies on it to show that
Real
you
match. For real.
Yeah.
I mean, they mandate stuff for law enforcement, but we see that don't work.
Mm.
No, you got to get people that actually care. How do you get people to actually care? Your students will tell you. You walked in the classroom and they told you.
Mm-hmm.
We are a very intuitive people. I don't know if it's because that woman was sensing, here comes master, what? Let me get my babies and my husband together, but it's still in us. And we know when you bullshit, and we know when you love us, and we know when we feeling safe around you. Our babies are no different. How
So it's
do
all
I?
about relationships, you're saying,
Exactly. Exactly.
real relationships, not
Real.
something that you just write on paper and say it's
Yep.
that, but it's really not that.
And they would tell you off the back when you fake.
So do you ever think we can get the village system back where those mothers and fathers, because the men need to step up as well. Women are, I ain't gonna lie, this is the age of women because women are killing it right now. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
and so I'm not trying to skip over the brothers, and I appreciate whatever deposit that they make, but the women are out front and meaning it, you know. And
Well,
so I don't
because
know if
for so
more.
long we've been silenced and pushed in the back while we carry the whole country on our shoulders. It's time up.
So I don't know if we're gonna ever get another Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X, but it's gonna be a
Damn
female.
well.
It's some female versions rising for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
You know,
Shit.
and so I'm just loving women, but and everybody like, well, we can't do it, and I'm like, why can't we do it? Whatever was done before, we should be able to do again. If we were able to be a village with less in segregation
Right.
under all type of harsh conditions and was able to pull together, what's stopping us from doing it now?
It's a choice, but it seems like close proximity to whiteness overrules it all.
So you're saying, and see, that's the thing. So the connection. So basically, when white people were involved, this is what I've seen, and this is why I've had to try to dodge things here the last few years. Is it seemed like when white people get involved with a cause that maybe a black person started, they always seem to want to have to like jump in front and lead instead of coming behind to support. Is that an
And
issue you see as well?
yes, and we allow it because of the simple fact that they have the financial means. So we feel like a sense of I gotta allow it because they have what I don't have, and that's the finance. But I'm to the point. It's because of us they got it.
So, and that's what I've always challenged people. I say, well, we just need your support. We don't need you to lead. We have the brain power to lead. It's almost like they don't think we have the capability of leadership a
They
lot of
know we
times.
do. Nope, 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 nope. We will not give them that credit. They know exactly that we do. The issue is they think we will in turn do the shit that they did or
Mm,
that they do. And that has
mm-hmm,
never been our character. Okay?
mm,
Because by now, all asses should be slaughtered. That's not us.
mm-hmm.
So all I need is your money. I don't need you to speak for me. I don't need your foot. I sure don't need you rubbing my damn back or holding my hand. I'm a grown ass. Oh, we
And,
all right.
and that's what I've told them. And some of them seem to get it, and some of them seem to say, "You need your white ally." And I
No, I don't.
understand. I understand the use of a white ally, but I don't need a white ally to speak my story or talk about what oppression that I've experienced when I can do it myself.
Well,
And
no, the issue is because once they're out front, that's when their book deals can get because it's never genuine to care to eradicate it. They need it because that's how they profit. So when
so
they're
they're
out,
coming with an agenda. So you're saying that,
always all we gotta do is look in history from the moment of me being involved in this movement since Michael Brown to now, the shit white folks have done and gotten done for themselves, and now their children is passed down to their children. You're not gonna tell me I need you to be an ally. I need your money. That's it. Get the fuck out of my face. That's what I need. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be honest,
So, with you saying that, has it worked? Have you been able? I had to take my glasses off for this. Have
it's
you been
okay.
able? Have you been able to say, "Give me your money and get the hell out my face"?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, it happened, but yeah.
All
'Cause
right.
I need to let them understand that one, I see you, and when I say I see you, I actually see you. I see you working that whiteness. Whiteness is good. I'll give you a couple ends. No, I need you to touch policy. I don't
Mhm.
need a shirt. I don't need a sign. I need you to
Mhm.
get in policy. You did it for Asians really quickly.
Hmm.
So
Well, that
that's
was a
why my
campaign. That was a campaign promise. But even with
people,
the Asians and this Asian hate bill, I'm looking at the older Asians. They don't kind of want this pushed out there, and they're a little scared and skeptical about it. And I'm thinking like, why would y'all why would it be a divide on them wanting what us as black people been wanting for the longest time is just complete equality,
right,
um so it makes me feel like they were somewhat of a part of it for a lot of the older ones who want to push back and say no, 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 like they think it's going to make it worse, or they just understand that America's system is racist, and Kamala Harris seems to think different. That's another story.
exactly.
uh
It's usually her husband white.
Well, and she's also indebted to
White America.
uh white America. And that's what I'm saying. When they, and that's flip from what I was saying, but we can get on Kamala because Kamala, they say she's a black woman, and then obviously her mother raised her, and she knows her mother heritage well, and then her father has a heritage outside of the United States. Blacks were, what is he, Jamaican or something? And
Yeah,
not to really divide us because we all look alike, so we're gonna all be classed the same anyway.
right.
Um, but it's important for people to understand that most of us Americans that have black skin that actually came out of descendants from slaves, basically, okay, how I'm gonna put this, all of us basically our roots lead up to America, and we don't know what part of Africa we're from. So
Right.
although we know that we're African, they cut our freaking roots. So
Exactly.
and so when I heard people that know their roots, that can trace back their roots all these generations, hundreds of years, they got family heirlooms passed down, from generation to generation. That pisses me off
Right.
because I can't trace my family history past my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Because also a lot of people left the South and freed themselves from the bull crap down there too, and left everything and didn't want the identity that they were attached to. So we really are messed up when it comes to our our roots
Uh-huh.
in America, yet alone beyond America, and then come back to what I'm saying when it comes to Kamala, where her roots don't have that, and I'm like, okay, so this is the answer. She knows the complete black struggle. Oh, she went to HBCU, and I've had all that, but I've been quiet, and I'm political. I admit I'm political now. I used to say I didn't like politics, but I love it. But overall, I told people then, and I'm telling them now after she said this country not racist. How do you say something like that being black in America?
Clearly.
You
Well,
obviously not black. You're not. You couldn't be black in America if you say America's not racist.
exactly. Well, I mean, there are some of us who have some serious shields on our eyes and our hearts because, yep, I voted for her to only vote against the clown. But other than that, it was how she treated the parents in California, the black parents in the school system who pushed their children into the criminal justice system, that I had great disdain towards her, because clearly you have no idea what's going on And eventually, during the campaign, she, I guess, apologized or tried to make amends to those families who more than likely have records now. So girl, she has something against black folk, but some of us are like that.
So speaking of that clown, I kind of miss that clown. You can cuss me out later, but I miss that
Me
clown.
too, me too.
I
I mean, I love his blunt racist orange ass. Hate him.
Hold on, my baby. Can you give me my cord? My cord is my computer is going dead. I'm sorry. Um, I'm sorry,
His on his
but listen, I miss him. I miss the little White House, little chimes every day, the press conferences. Like
I
I
miss
was
the
because I already know him and the reporters was gonna go at it.
I miss the low IQ.
So it's like really boring now. Like Joe Burley
I
says
know.
anything. Like it's so back political because the one thing that Trump was not, he was really not a politician.
He sure
And
wasn't. He was a troll.
and so now with him having sat in the presidency, because I used to have aspirations to say, oh, I want to go to Congress and I need to live this perfect life. Oh my God, he just made life so much easier for so many other people that are striving to go to higher places because it's like, okay,
You can be
we
dumb as
had
fuck and do it.
I said
Girl.
we had a real person in that seat. So right now, you know, respect him, Biden. He it's politics as usual.
Exactly.
It's
A
back
little
pan
covert.
out. Yeah, and so he's got a checklist of stuff that he's got to get done, campaign promises, but they always put us in the bag. Where's the black agenda at?
Now we
They
ain't even
go
in the back no more.
that it's gonna be a whole bunch of non-economic liberalism. And I
Yeah,
say that term, and a lot of people are like, oh, we don't know that term. It's kind of new. And I'm just like, okay, because I've been kind of diving in it and I can say it because I see it. But
right.
it's going to be a whole bunch of, like I said, non-economic liberalism that in turn, the profit is going to go right back into the white community through that big white nonprofits.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to give us more food stamps. They're going to give us more housing. They're gonna give us more all the things that say, oh, education, certain education, but it's gonna be antiquated education, not gonna be none of that trending stuff. And they're gonna say,
Exactly.
oh, this is for you black people.
Yep.
And I'm tired of us taking what they think we need. I
Mm-hmm.
would love to see the village system come together
Yep.
and
Me
really
too.
fully assess. And that's what I want to work on us now. Like we talking every week. Hopefully each week we're gonna be making some effort to get in the East St. Louis community because that's the only thing I care about all communities, but there's some unfinished work in the East St. Louis community that
Most
I
definitely.
started, that you have started, that we need to finish and mean it and get
Mm-hmm.
the real support behind us where we can move and be unintentional about our moves and know that guess what? No white lead is taking this. So if we start another version of Black Lives Matter on this side,
Uh-huh.
don't bring y'all white asses over here and try to jump in front
Okay. At
of
all.
us
At
because
all.
what people don't know is so much stuff that me and you have done behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people don't know because you haven't wrote about it. Well, you probably have wrote about it, but probably not a big because you write everything. But I haven't wrote about it. Like for instance, take it. We are two of the adults, probably two of the very few, because the other ones was there on agendas that
Uh-huh.
walked with those kids when they walked out of the high school to try to
Right.
get there. And we in the whole process and the day before that, and I don't know if I told you this, but I went around to all of the school board member houses
Uh-huh.
and precinct
Yeah, you talking.
committeemen
Mm-hmm.
and told them, y'all need to be here. This is important. They better, and they did. They showed up and stood with them kids.
Right.
And but yet and still, it also showed that where the real power lies. That's why the superintendent don't have to do anything because he worked for the state and not the school board. So
Right.
we already right there. That's a flaw in our education system. So whereas our school board had the power in their hands
Mm-hmm.
They used their power and then it got undone.
Right. Right.
So
Be-
what's the point of having a school board if it has no power to undo things that the superintendent, one person, does?
the
So,
the most powerful people are the parents. The
well,
most
no,
powerful. They need
not
to
in,
know that though.
but listen, how are they? See, I thought it was like that, but not when you got a school board that is oversight by the state, because the parents had the power over the school board, and that power was used through different community leaders as well, where we put the pressure on the leaders to do what they need to do for the children. But how can parents have power over the state? There was no way to undo that. Once they undid it, no
If
parents could rise up and
listen,
tell them anything.
one thing I've learned about being around these white folks, affluent or not, when it comes to education, they don't care where you get them from. I have the power because if you don't have my child, you don't have nothing. So they can go around and create loopholes and all this. At the end of the day, if our children are not there in these failed ass antiquated schools, you ain't got no money. And I learned that by being around white people. All you gotta do is look at what's going on in Rockwood. What the hell them white parents say? You will not come in teaching my kids that they come from racist system and they are racist. you
So
know,
why do you think they don't want their kids to know about the racist history of the
because
United
it's not
States?
history. It's still
Because
going
it's
on.
still going on.
And I
And
mean,
and if you taught them the history, they might notice the current conditions as well.
they
So you
know
don't even want
exactly
them
what
pointed out.
this particular school district kids had blackface, uh, calling kids the N word. A couple times they have been on the news because of racism. So they know it's a system in place that allows it.
So
And
it's been
what,
fun. It's been racist stuff been going on way before now.
yes, in Rockwood, I'll share some of the videos. I don't know how to do it now while we on here. But yes,
But think about, and I always try to see things subjectively,
too
objectively,
bad
just
I don't.
what I do, because that helps me understand people, and that also helps keep the conversation going a little further, because when you kind of at least try to understand them and don't call everything crazy, like how could you. So when I think about it, and I think about, because I just did some demographics for someone, and I was all around Illinois and looking at the towns directly and seeing the percentage of racial demographics, and thinking about some of my white friends from here that have looked at me and great people have looked me dead in the eye and say they don't know racism. And I think, like, okay, I want to believe that you don't know or you never witnessed racism. I want to believe that. But you know how they do that? Them lily white communities that they live in, that they literally don't have to come out for, unless they come in to work for us or service us and make some kind of money off of us. But
They
it's
let me
they
tell you
really
something,
they
Tabby.
really could miss racism. But just hear me out though. If you're living in a community that has everything and everyone looks the same and you don't really have to deal with anything different, really, you haven't faced racism for real.
Oh, okay. Are you discussing African Americans in those communities?
No, I'm discussing the lily white communities that the African Americans invade pretty much. That a lot of times, one or two African Americans in the community that is subjected to whatever treatment they're being subjected to by whatever races, most of the whites in the community not going to go looking for the only couple of blacks in the community and try to even interact with them. They're going to be like a none and void kind of thing.
Tabby,
So how
Tabby.
do you really say that they're facing racism? I'm listening.
They are racist. They face racism. They know America is a melting pot. So everybody around you that's white, or everybody in your corporation that's white, you haven't faced racism. You want to act brand new. You want to act like minorities have not. Like I said, these systems that's in place, I say it all the time: policies, laws, rules, mandates, codes, all that stuff. is to legalize making us invisible, denying us, and excluding us, period. Them same people, although they in this homogeneous community, they know what it's all about. Because if
Mhm.
it was, we would have a serious melting pot in that particular community. When I got to drive 45 minutes to this area where the school look like it's a freaking Ivy League, you know exactly what's going on. I never will say they don't know. They know. It cushions them. And they
Mhm.
also profit from coming, quote, serving the poor. I need your ass to come here to serve nothing. But when I apply for a job and I'm qualified for it, I need you to hire me. Oh, if I hire you, then I can't come and serve you and benefit from tax credit and all that stuff. Girl, it's a game they play, and I'm done with that. I'm done with making excuses. This is fact. This is what it is. We need to deal with it. Ain't no more subjective. Not for me. It was at one point. No more.
So
Because
you
I see
okay?
how it all works. And
Right.
it's on my back and my shoulders. And for a mother and a grandmother, I need it to end. And I can't end being subjective. I need it to end by being real.
Right.
So sorry.
Well, I don't think that we're gonna have to agree to disagree, but the point I was trying to chime in on is there's some that never gonna work with black people. They're gonna live their lily white life. They're gonna go get a lily white education. They're gonna have a lily white adulthood, and they don't even really ever have to touch black people or any other people, a minority is what I'm
We
saying.
don't,
And those are those
Tabby,
kind of people that I'm telling you that's claiming. I'm just telling you that they're
we
claiming
don't want them to.
that
It's
they
just
don't
when
know
we do our
racism
own,
because of the life that they've lived.
when we build, when they had Black Wall Street, we ain't had them intermingling with us, did they? That was Black Wall Street. So when we do our own shit, leave us alone.
Well, they
Leave
said
us
we need,
alone.
we need their help, girl. Because like you said,
No, I'm
we need their
saying,
money.
I'm
Do
talking about them.
but do we need their money though? Because that's what they come with, and that's what
No,
most people allow them in with. If they didn't come with no money, then most of the white people you see leading things wouldn't be leading because they wouldn't have any influence over anything, and their money is influence. They say money is power, and a lot of people because they
listen,
don't have it.
listen. I hope somebody from 89 Block see this. 89 Blocks News.
We can drop this into their group or
Go
whatever.
in.
I need you to help share it too. But this
I
is what
can't. I'm in jail
oh yeah, okay,
when
I'll
I get
share.
out. At 5 o'clock every single day. Think of the money that's being dropped in other ethnicities' banks. And now you stand back and tell me if we need their help or their money. We giving ours away to everybody that either hit 55, 40, 44, or 64.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all because of us. So once we give it to them in that manner, maybe they'll see just how powerful we are with our dollar. We don't need them for nothing.
So if we don't need them, why we not moving?
That's what I'm
Wh-
saying.
Why is
Sometimes
look
it
at East
takes
St.
real
Louis?
education.
Look at East
It
St. Louis.
takes
We could
real
be a Black
education.
Wall Street right now. Look at all the land and opportunity. So
Right.
if we as black people have all this money and all this spending power, then why can't we go make an opportunity out of some of that opportunity zone that's been designated in East St. Louis? Why can't we um come together? And what I used to tell people, I said, let's make spaghetti. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about spaghetti? I said, well, I said, we all have some ingredient that would make spaghetti with. I might
Mm-hmm.
not have no meat, but I got some noodles. You might have the meat, but then somebody else got the sauce. Somebody
Right.
else got the herbs. Somebody, and whatever ingredient is needed, we put it all together now. Yeah, maybe one or the other may have cost more, but it's all needed all the same. So we all have equal contributing parts to create this spaghetti,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then once we make that spaghetti, depending on, then we split whatever profits, or if we selling it as a plate, and I'm just, just hypothetical, we selling them
Sure.
as plates. Then we make so much money. We don't say, oh, the meat costs more and this and that, and then we're going, no. If we're all in it together, we should be splitting it down the middle, deciding on what we're going to reinvest again, and going like that. And that's what co-ops are.
Right.
And we need to get off into that. And a lot of people don't realize how easy it is to start co-ops and actually do things a little bit at a time, because most people are so focused on long-term goals and don't think, guess what? Long-term goals are formed from short-term goals. You have to start somewhere.
Right.
And so I'm always hearing people say, and like I said, I had to go and look around and make sure I wasn't being crazy and saying, to be able to now confidently say, hey, let's start a co-op. Let's start, putting $10 together. Come on, what's $10 for most poor people?
Right.
Not $1,000 like what I go into most rooms in here, but let's start with $10 and make spaghetti. That's achievable. All right. And then once
Uh
we make that spaghetti and we sell that spaghetti, then what else can we make? Maybe we want to add fish to the spaghetti. I don't know.
huh.
But we have to start somewhere. And I'm ready to start like immediately putting $10 together. I just want to challenge people on $10, and maybe that's something we need to, push and see who will come with us to form some kind of cooperative. And it don't have to be a cooperative to develop buildings or businesses, but a cooperative just to say we're putting money together because we trust each other, and that we're gonna, lost her. She did good for 51 minutes. Okay. Let's hope she comes back in. That was not bad. I'm glad this was a test. So we were able to keep her on for 51 minutes. Hopefully, her phone battery didn't die. I'm gonna keep talking. Hopefully, she will come back in. But I'll finish my spaghetti concept until I see her come back in. Um, but it's a co-op. Let's make spaghetti. Let's do this. Hold on. Okay, she's in. That was good
Okay.
because you were on for a whole 51 minutes before you dropped. So this
Thank you.
test that we're doing is really good. We're gonna have a great show next week. Um so anyway, like I was saying, I'm ready now. And matter of fact, I'm gonna add this to one of our banners, but
Okay.
$10 co-op. I got my $10. And seriously, um co-op to see if we trust each other, see if we trust each other, and see how many people we can get around that. Because I understand people don't want to put in $1,000 because they don't know, oh, I want to see my money come back to me. I understand securities, but we got to first learn and see if we can trust each other, if we can trust each other. So, like I said, let's make spaghetti. I'm saying put $10 in so we can make spaghetti. We can do something together, whether it be spaghetti or it be lemonade. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever we can turn a profit. It might just be selling candy bars. But who is willing to put $10 in for to change our community and let that $10 turn around? If we really got this spending power, if we really got this money, like we said, let's see how many times we can get this money to spend around for our community, the way they say that these blackout days and all that makes the money spent around in our community. I want to see everybody who want to see our money continue to roll in the community put $10 in, and that's a challenge I think is achievable for everyone. I'm pretty confident in saying it, and I'm pretty confident in taking people $10 and saying, okay, you're gonna see your $10 again. So um I think that's a start. I think we have to start somewhere because we
Right.
continue to talk, and I see a lot of political write-ups, especially when it comes to elected officials.
Hmm.
And I heard people say, "Oh, y'all still talking?" Oh, because they really hate Black Lives Matter type stuff and all that. But you know, they're right. Let's stop talking. Let's actually do something. So when we see somebody a month from now, they look, oh, Marty and Tavy got that $10 co-op going on, and wow, people really getting their $10 back and deciding if they want to reinvest again, because that would be the case. You're gonna get more than what you put in. So you put your
So
10
let me
in.
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is this weekly or what? The ten
Well,
dollars.
So the $10 would be just one $10, and see how far your $10 continue to go.
Oh, okay.
You gonna guarantee. So just think about it. You gave me and you right now $20. We go buy a box of candy bars from Sam's, right? For the $20. I think that box is probably be about $15. It's like 30 candy bars in there. So we can easily flip our $15 and turn it to 30 by selling them for $1 a piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then if you put your 10 in and I put my 10 in, you automatically gonna get your 10 back and whatever profit we made off of it, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna have a choice to either put 10 in or put more in to do it again. You get
Right.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
we're starting now. So can I get a commitment from you? Because we don't have no one watching us right now, from what I can see. But if I can get a commitment from you, and I'm saying that I have $10, and we go tomorrow or the next day because it's Mother's Day. But let's start with a box of candy. I said the spaghetti concept, but I don't feel like making no spaghetti because anyway. I don't want to cook right now. But the
Mm-hmm.
easier thing would be for us to take our $10, which would be $20 between the two of us to show people. All right, we go ahead and buy a box of candy bars. We might be able to buy 2 boxes and get 60 candy bars. I don't know what the deal is with the $20. But whatever we decide, it's going to at least bring us back our money and then some, right? And
Sure.
instead of taking that money and reinvesting it on our own, each partner gets their money back, right? Along with their profit. And then we say again, do you want, just like how people gamble and all that, you want to put back in again? But it'll
Right.
be up to you because the whole co-op thing isn't based off of just one person
Uh-huh.
partnership, but multiple partnerships, and the more the better.
Right. Right.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we starting at. We're gonna buy us some candy bars and we're gonna sell them, and we're gonna tell people why we're selling it. We're gonna have a purpose for it, and I believe the purpose is just we have to fund our organization some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the purpose right now. Let's start selling candy bars and see how far it go. Then we might want to add something else to the list. Who knows what we can do beyond that? But once we start turning, but what we can do is say we took $10 and this $10 kept doing this for us. That's the point I'm trying to show.
Okay.
Is that's how we're gonna really see the money. And we got less than 3 minutes left on this show, but that's how we'll get other people involved because it's like, okay, it sounded very simple, but in a month's time, if we take this $20 between the two of us, and we're able to turn this $20 into $200 within a month, or it might be more than that. Who knows? That shows people how it's done. That's co-op.
Right. Okay.
All right. So,
Good.
is there anything you want to say in closing remarks? We got about 2 minutes left.
Yes. In closing remarks, as society tap into finances once again for Mother's Day, I would love for us to look at Black women as they say, Mother Earth. Okay, we are the life givers. We give life in more ways than just natural. I think about mothers of Black athletes, for instance. It is our children who touch down on courts, fields, and gyms, and champions are made. But yet and still, who's reaping from our babies? The mothers that step to the plate when mother is no longer there. We have a history, and this is our culture. This is our ministry is to be motherly. And for that, I wanted to say Happy Mother's Day.
All
You did.
right. Well, in closing, first I would like to say Happy Mother's Day, and to all the people who are mothers who haven't actually birthed children, because there are plenty of those out there as well. So we don't
Right,
want to forget, because there are some dynamite aunties that never birthed a child but have helped raise the child just the same. And
right.
so I just want to make sure that's clear. I will never call a mother a father, even if you are doing the father job.
I will.
I don't like that concept. Again, I respect it, but you won't hear me telling no mother Happy Father's Day, because I understand that fathers are fathers. You might be filling in some kind of role, but I'm sorry. I used to look at my sons all the time and say, I can't teach you how to be a man. I can give you an idea of what it is, but I've never been a man before, so I'm not going to even sit there and try to take no man clout. I'm a mother all day long, and that means that I just have to transition and adjust to whatever it is that I need to adjust to help parent you. But no, I'll never be anybody's father. But that's another story, y'all. That's our time.
Woo!
Again, you are watching the Tavy and Marty show. We will be on every Saturday at 7:30. We were
Yes.
delayed this time, but we have a great connection. Marty only got kicked off once, and again,
Woo!
she's off of Facebook. So this is the only way you're going to be able to see Marty is right here on her YouTube channel. We will be coming to you and trying to be faithful to that 7:30 moving forward now that we know we have a good secure connection. We're out of here. Remember to like, subscribe. Also, I'm learning about this bell. They say if you click that bell, you'll notify when we do go live because we might start going live even outside of these Saturday nights, just
Right.
depending on what we doing once we start moving our little $20 co-op issue. Okay, our
Hmm.
initiative. Okay, so until next time, next week, Saturday 7:30, be here. The Marty and Tavy show. Enjoy your night.
Bye.
Wait a minute, stay on here.